So we're gonna start off sitting on your bum with your feet a little bit wider than hip width apart. And you're just gonna sit really tall. Now I have my hands behind me, kind of like that, so I'm supporting myself. So I can kind of like bring my heart forwards. And what we're gonna do is begin off with hip mobility and spinal rotations. So we're gonna drop both knees over to one side, and then inhale to raise both hands up, so you kind of turn your heart towards that right. I'm just turning my right side, but you guys can do whatever side you want. We're just gonna go back and forth for a few rounds. Bringing both hands back down to the ground, and then dropping both knees over to the other side. Again, raising both hands up. Kind of like pulling your shoulder blades back together and down away from your ears. And then you bring your hands back down and rotate both knees over to the other side. And bring both hands up. And we're kind of like linking movement with breath here. So bring both hands down, and then switching sides one more time to this side. And then bringing both hands up, getting that nice stretch all the way from your lats down into your hip. And then coming back to center and bringing both hands down, and we'll make our way flat onto your back. So we're going to begin with 25 crunches, straight up and down. You can either keep your feet on the floor or raise your feet up off the mat. Hands behind your head or across your chest. And just crunching head and shoulder blades up off the ground. Think about giving a big exhale each time you come up. And try to maintain a good space between your chin and your chest. There's 25. Cool. Once you finish your set of 25, we're going to bring your right ankle over your left knee. We're going to use that ankle kind of like a weight to drop everything over to the right side. So using your right ankle to kind of facilitate a stretch all the way into your left hip complex. Raise both hands up over your head and wiggle your fingers. 2 more breaths here. And we'll bring both legs back up, hands behind your head, and we're going to crunch up to twist left elbow towards your right knee. 15 times on each side. And you're trying to get your elbow as close as you can to your knee, but it doesn't actually have to touch, just as long as it gets kind of close to there. And your hands are supporting your head, but not pulling on your head, so you still have that space between your chin and your chest. If you want to make it harder, you can raise your other foot up off the floor. Once you finish your set of 15, we're going to switch legs, so bring your left ankle over your right knee. And then we're going to drop both knees over to the left side. So that left ankle is kind of pushing that top of that right knee down towards the ground. Raising both hands up over your head. Taking about 2 long, slow, deep breaths to kind of get that stretch all the way down into your hips. Coming back up towards center, both hands come behind your head and crunch up to twist right elbow towards left knee. 15 times. Mm. 14, 15. Good morning, Sam. So then straightening out, your legs away from you, hands above you. We're gonna reach your right hand up, right hand away, and then left hand up, left hand away. So you're kind of getting a little pelvic tilt on each side as you're stretching through your abdominal wall for a moment. Stretching through your shoulder girdle. And then when we're all done with that, bring your hands underneath your bum. You're gonna do a set of 25 leg lifts. So raising your legs up until they're just shy of above your hips, and then lowering them down until they're just above the floor. 25 times. If your back feels a little tight, if this is putting strain on your back, you can bend your knees to reduce that torque, or you can raise your hips up higher off the floor. Great. Once you finish your set of 25, we're going to do hip raise and a crunch combination. So you're going to plant your heels until you can just about find your heels with your fingertips. You can bring your hands behind your head. So what we're going to do is raise your hips high up off the floor, so you're squeezing your butt and your hamstrings, and then lower back down, and then crunch up as high as you can and hold for like a full second. So we're going to do 15 of those, and that counts as one. So raising hips up, getting that strong squeeze, and then strong squeeze up in the other side. Oh, those are so hard. Just make sure you're breathing a lot throughout, and you're trying to maintain that space between your chest and your chin for your crunch. Cool. Once you finish your set of 15 of those, it might have walked you up the mat a little bit, but that's always kind of fun too. You're gonna bring your hands underneath your bum again, and we're gonna straighten both legs up directly over your hips. And from here, we're gonna kick your butt up off the floor and lower it down slowly for a vertical hip raise. We're gonna go for 15 of these and try and hold at the top of each one so that you lower down very slowly. The slower you can lower down, the better the exercise becomes. Ooh. 13, 14, 15. Cool. Once you finish a set of 15 of those, you're going to straighten your right arm up over your head and push your left heel straight away from you. And we're going to connect hand to foot 15 times on each side. The left hand can either rest on your belly or go behind your head to give you a little bit of support on your neck. But you're crunching up so your shoulder blade and head come off the floor, and then lowering back down, but your foot doesn't touch the floor again. So go in 15 of those. Go at your own pace. Remember, when you're at the top is when your abs are contracting. That's where you get the most benefit. So holding for a moment at the top, make your core a little bit stronger, or maybe a lot stronger, who knows. Fourteen. Cool. Once you finish your set of 15, just switching sides. Straighten out your right leg, left hand up over your head, and then crunching up so your shoulder blade and head come off the floor, and trying to touch those toes. Cool. Once you finish a set of 15, you're just going to straighten out your arms and legs. Taking a few breaths, stretch out that core. And we'll prepare for the next exercise, which is going to be a set of hollow holds. So a hollow hold is where you start out here. This is like your point A position. And what we're going to do is keep your biceps in line with your ears. And we're going to crunch legs and arms up. Hold for 3 breaths, and then lower back down slowly. We're gonna go for 5 of these. So go at your own pace, but coming up, holding for 3 breaths. Oh. There's 2. There's 4, 1 more. Oh. There's 5. Those are hard. I like this. Okay, so we're gonna lift up both feet off the floor, creating a little tabletop with your shins and flexing your feet so you bring your toes towards you. You're gonna press your thighs into your hands and your hands into your thighs. Imagine like you have a little rock in each palm and you're pressing it into your thigh muscles. We're gonna hold this for 30 seconds, starting 5 seconds ago. So get that good strong push. And you can only push so far with your arms if your shoulder blades are back. So by really pushing your legs into your hands is how we kind of make that pose stronger. We're gonna hold for 15 more seconds. Pushing just a little bit more, a little bit stronger. And breathing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can release and come down. Cool. Bringing your hands underneath your bum again, we're going to go for a set of 30 flutter kicks. So every time your legs go like this, that's 1. So we're going to go for 30 of those. So starting whenever you're ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Cool. Bringing your big toes together. We're going to drop your knees out to either side. And just pause here for a moment, kind of rocking your hips back and forth to kind of open up those hip flexors. Then we're gonna bring both hands behind your ears. So like just your fingertips are behind your earlobes. We're gonna go for 20 crunches straight up and down. Try and keep your knees as open out to the side as you can. So crunching up as high as you can. 20 times. Start whenever you're ready. And try to keep your elbows out to the sides. Cool. Once you finish your set of 20 of those, we'll keep your big toes together and draw your knees together. Bring both arms out to the sides. Then we're going to drop both knees over to one side. Doesn't matter which side because we're going to do them both. Bring both hands behind your head. And then we're going to do oblique crunches. So shortening the distance between your rib and your hip. Come up strong, 15 times on each side. And 15. Once you're all done, straighten out your arms to either side. Bring both knees all the way over to the other side. Hands behind your head, and 15 oblique crunches on the other side. Great. Once you're all done with those, we're going to come all the way up onto your bum. And posting your hands behind you. With your fingertips facing away from you, you're going to lift your hips up off the floor. And we're going to go for a set of 20 crab kicks. So hand opposite toe, 20 times. And think about keeping those shoulders really strong. So you're not collapsing, your shoulders aren't ending up by your ears, but they keep posting far away from you. Too much fun, Jim. I love it. All right, so we're gonna stay on your bum and keeping your spine really strong. Imagine someone's pulling you from your heart, so your heart's leaning way back. We're gonna go for a set of Russian twists. So you can do these with your heels on the floor, holding onto an imaginary ball, twisting side to side. We're gonna go for a set of 30, or you can raise your feet up off the floor. Both are good so long as you're maintaining that length through your spine. And 30. Great. Once you finish your set of 30, we'll make your way onto your side. And resting on your forearm with your shoulder posting really strong, we're gonna go for a set of 10 rib rakes. So rib rakes where your feet are stacked, your hips are off the floor, and your other hand is like a rake. And you rake that hand under your ribs, try and grab your back, and then come up with your hand all the way over your head. And that's 1. So we're gonna go for 10 of these. 2, keeping your hips off the floor. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Once you finish that 10, just switching sides. So same deal, keeping that shoulder really strong, pushing away from the floor, coming to your side plank. Other hand is rake under your body, coming up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Cool. Once you're done with those, we'll make our way onto your hands and knees. So toes can either be flexed like so, or tops of your feet on the mat, doesn't really matter. What we want to focus on though is keeping your fingertips spread wide and pushing your heart away from the floor. So again, your shoulders aren't lazy, but they're engaged. Reaching your right arm out in front of you, left heel straight back behind you, and then tucking your belly button in towards your spine so you got a really tight core. On an exhale, we're going to connect elbow to knee under your body, and then inhale to extend. And that's 1. We're going to go for 10 of these on each side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Once you finish at 10, just do the same thing on the other side. Maybe readjusting your shoulders for a second just to make sure that your arms are engaged. Left arm out in front of you, right heel straight back behind you. Deep breath in, exhale to connect. Going for 10. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Cool. So we're going to make our way all the way onto your belly. And we're going to do 5 rounds of Superman to cactus arms. So hands are out in front of you. You fly up like Superman, and then draw your elbows down towards your ribs, sinking your shoulders away from your ears. Hands come out in front of you, and then lower all the way back down. So that's 1. Go in at your own pace and in the range of motion that feels safe, but you're still challenging and strengthening that lower back. 3, 4, 5. Once I'm done with those, we'll come all the way back into child's pose. And we'll only meet there for a moment to stretch out your lower back. Taking in deep breaths here for 2 more breaths. Then making our way forward, we'll all come onto our forearms. And the last core exercise we'll do today is a forearm plank. And we'll hold this for 60 seconds. If you want to do more, you can start right now. I'm going to make my way into the plank kind of slowly and wait for a good time to start the timer. All right, so we'll start in 3, 2, 1,
And we're holding the plank for 60 seconds. So if you can see yourself in the mirror or the screen, see if you can drop your hips down so that they're truly level with your shoulders and your heels. As you exhale, tuck your belly button into your spine and kind of like up towards your heart. So you're hollowing out your stomach. Good. We're at 30 seconds right now. There's 20 to go. Okay, 10 more seconds. Keep pushing out through the heels. Make your body tall. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll close up with a lat and spinal twist stretch. So we'll just come to sit in a comfortable position. Inhale, raising both hands up over your head. And we're just going to pivot your heart to face towards the right. You're going to bring your left hand to your right knee. Right hand posts behind your back behind you, so you're sitting really tall. Inhale into a straight spine, then exhale to twist to look over your right shoulder, and we hold here for 3 breaths. So with each breath, you get a little bit taller. With each exhale, you twist just a little bit deeper. Rotating back towards center, bringing both hands up towards the sky, and then twisting towards your left. And then bring your right hand to your left knee. Left hand posts behind your back. Inhale into a straight spine, and then exhale to twist to look over your left shoulder. Again, holding for 3 breaths. Exhale, coming back towards middle, and glitter fingers of happiness floating all the way back down towards the ground, or we could call them like sparklers. It's 4th of July. And thus concludes the core workout today. Thank you so much for joining me. Y'all are awesome.